Series finale between the Frisco RoughRiders and the Arkansas Travelers today, and joining us on the RoughRiders pregame show is the minor league assistant hitting coordinator for the Texas Rangers, Brook Jacoby. Brook, a former Major League All-Star himself, and we're delighted to have him on the show today. And actually, Coach, you were the minor league hitting coordinator in the Rangers organization back in 2005 and 2006. Now that you're back in the Rangers family, has anything really changed about the job since you've been away?
Nothing's really changed about the job. No, I am the assistant now, so I'm working under Scott Coolball's direction, which, he and I are on the same page, which is great. Easy guy to work with, great organization, and they've got some talented players.
And currently the field coordinator for the Rangers farm system is, of course, Jace Tingler. And when you were around back in 2006, Jace was a player on the RoughRiders roster. Did you have a chance to scout him, essentially, and did you meet him back in 06?
Yeah, I remember him in Bakersfield. He was in Bakersfield. He was a little gamer. He'd throw his helmets and bats and really had a lot of fire to him as a player. And he's now moved up in the world a little bit.
This is Brook Jacoby, assistant hitting coordinator for the Texas Rangers farm system, joining us on the pregame show. One of the challenges I would think of your job as a roving coordinator is developing a sense of trust among the players, because you're not with them every day like, say, a Jason Hart, the hitting coach, is. How is that process going, and do you feel like you've developed a rapport with some of the players this season?
Well, yeah. I mean, it all starts in spring training, building that trust and that relationship. And a lot of times it's not their swing. A lot of times it's a mental part of their game that lacks. And I'll kind of work that angle first. I'll go through the mental part of it with them, and then maybe hit some mechanical things if Scott and I see fit.
Now, you do have ample Major League experience, not only as a player, but you spent the last 7 seasons as the hitting coach for Dusty Baker's Cincinnati Reds. What is different about working with prospects and working with Major League hitters?
Really, there's no difference. I think all hitters are insecure, especially when they're not going good. They all need someone to talk to. Every one of them needs to hear positive things from a coach. And, they're just making a little bit more money up there, that's all.
So your message really doesn't change that much, working with a guy like Joey Votto versus a guy like Joey Gallo?
Well, early on, Joey Votto. Joey Votto now is his own coach. He's got a good feel for what he's doing. He's got a good knowledge of the strike zone, and those are the things that Joey Gallo's trying to learn now.
Which do you like more, working with the prospects or working with the established players?
Well, I like working with all of them. Anybody that wants to work, I like to work with. So it's not necessarily the prospect, but you can help out a kid that might not be a prospect, and that's where the satisfaction is too.
We're with Brook Jacoby on the RoughRiders pregame show. After your stint in Cincinnati ended, what was really the driving force or the motivating factor for you to return to this level of baseball?
To this level?
Or the minors?
I just like teaching baseball. I like doing what I'm doing. It doesn't matter where I do it. This job here affords me some time at home with my family, whereas the last 7 years I was gone for the duration, the spring training all the way through the playoffs.
Some of those Reds teams that you were a part of, Reds obviously one of the most storied franchises in baseball, and yet you were a part of history coaching guys like Votto, Jay Bruce, Ken Griffey Jr. late in his career. Who stood out to you in your time in Cincinnati?
Well, Joey Votto, of course. He was, as a young player, he was mentally so gifted. He saw the game different. He's a guy. I was around Scott Rowland a little bit over there. He was, he had great leadership qualities. Griffey. There were some good players that came through there. Brandon Phillips. Jay Bruce, there's a long list of them.
Obviously the talent of the players, but other than that, what really enabled you and the offense in Cincinnati to be so successful for that stretch while you were there? 2 National League Central Division titles come to mind in particular.
We did have talent. You got to have talent to win at that level, but our guys committed to an approach. They committed to letting RBIs and runs be the judge of how well they play as a group and a unit. And really, they took ownership of that ball club and wanted to be the best. So at Scott Rowland's leadership at that time. So, you know, a lot of the credit goes to those players. They did the work. They committed to it, and they wanted it. And you know, that's what we got.
Looking especially at a player like Ken Griffey Jr., obviously one of the game's premier hitters, and I know you saw him only for a short time while you were in Cincinnati. I don't want to ask you to necessarily compare him to Joey Gallo, but do you see any similarities between those two premier hitters, both guys with 80-grade power?
Well, I'll tell you, Joey Gallo might have the most power of anybody I've seen, and I mean that includes Josh Hamilton. I mean, I'm going out on a limb there saying that, but Josh, up to this point, was the one that, you know, he had the most power. Now, at the big league level, okay, Joey's not at the big league level there, but raw power from what I've seen in games down here, he is up there with all those guys.
Looking at a guy like Joey Votto, also Ken Griffey Jr., two guys that were MVPs for individual seasons in the majors, there's really no argument that Joey Gallo can be a champion in, say, the home run derby. Do you think he has what it takes to be like a Votto or a Griffey Jr. and be an MVP?
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid. He's made such great strides this year alone. You know, his biggest battle is going to be discipline and swinging at pitches that he can handle. And I think the more he plays, the more he's going to understand what pitchers are trying to do to him, how they're trying to attack him in the zone, and then learn what pitches he really can handle and what he can't.
Looking at another player in the organization like Ryan Rua or Jake Smolinski, two guys that actually just got promoted to AAA, what is the next step for them? Does AAA provide a platform for those guys that will allow them to showcase skills and talents that they couldn't at the AA level? Well,
I think the AA level is a test of power, arms, and velocity here. And I've seen, you know, I've been to Round Rock, and I've seen and talked to a lot of the players about what they see at that level, and they see a lot more breaking stuff. They see a lot more guys pitching backwards with their breaking balls. So that, you know, that's something else that they're going to have to. That's another feather in their hat that they're going to have to conquer. But, you know, if these guys can hit at this level here and hit the velocity that they're hitting here, it's the same velocity they're going to see at the big league level.
Two-time All-Star Brook Jacoby with us on the RoughRiders pregame show. And, Coach, looking at this team, the RoughRiders right now, they've already locked up a playoff berth, obviously, because they won the first half of the Texas League, the first half of the season, that is. How do they stay sharp and focused the rest of the way in spite of knowing their destiny after the season?
Well, I think they've had a couple challenges already. They've had the heart of the middle of their defense taken from them to the big leagues, being Odor and Sardinas. Now they've had Rua and Smolinski, those kind of guys taken from them, and they've overcome adversity all year long. When the two middle infielders left, they rose to the occasion. Now they're going to have to do it again.
Is there a player or specifically a hitter in the organization that reminds you of yourself in your playing career?
Oh, heck no, they're all better than I. Hey, I didn't have to face these guys throwing 95 to 99 in the lower minor leagues. They're all over the place now. It's unbelievable.
Well, give yourself some credit. I noticed that you were an All-Star in 1986 and 1990, enjoyed a good career with three teams. But I saw that statistically your best season was 1987 when you hit 300. So what happened on the All-Star ballot that season?
I don't know. I think it happened for me the next year after that. They didn't know what they're going to get from year to year with me, and no, I don't know. That was I seemed to put it together. I stayed in the strike zone. My on base was through the roof. It was just one of those years for me.
Any other hitters in the pipeline right now at any level that stand out to you and what you've seen so far this season?
Well, we've got quite a few, and I don't want to start naming names because I'll forget some, but. I'm looking at Myrtle, Hickory, Spokane, and even Arizona. All these teams are playing very well right now. We've got a chance for all of them to be in the playoffs. So Without the talent and the players to do it, then they wouldn't be where they're at.
What about a guy like Nick Williams? It's interesting if you look at Baseball America's prospect ratings from before the season. Baseball America actually put Williams a tick higher than Joey Gallo in the top prospects in the organization. What kind of things does he bring to the table?
Well, he brings some bat speed, and the ball jumps off his bat. He's a left-handed hitter. He can run a little bit. Pretty good athlete, so it'll be interesting to watch too.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time. We've really enjoyed picking your brain, and nice to have you in town, and we'll hopefully see you one more time down the road in the second half here.
Great. Thank you very much.
That's assistant hitting coordinator Brook Jacoby joining us on the RoughRiders pregame show. We're back in a moment on the RoughRiders Baseball Network.